Good afternoon. Welcome everyone to the 2013 Annual Awards presentations. Great to have everyone out here. What we're going to do is here shortly I'll introduce the chief and then we'll have a presentation. So, well, I guess, Chief, I'll just turn it over to you now since you're ready.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Good afternoon, everyone. How is everybody doing on this beautiful day? Before I make my comments, I'd like to acknowledge City Manager Robert Layden. If you'd like to make some comments, sir, as far as our three recipients today.
Well, I'll get even with you, Chief. I don't want to take away from the festivities. I just simply want to say that we are truly honored to have not just the people being recognized today, but the men and women that serve in the police department for the city of Wichita. So an excellent department, and I say that not just in a subjective way, but an objective way. When we look at how we compare to police departments around the country, we are in the top quartile in almost every way that we measure performance. And then if you look at the citizen survey, you'll see that our residents feel the same way. So on a professional level, on a personal level, I couldn't be more proud of this department and Chief Williams and his leadership, as well as everyone that serves with him. So again, I want to congratulate all of the recipients today and those in the department who work for us every day. Thanks.
This afternoon, we also have with us Council Member Janet Miller, who represents District 6. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate your support when it comes to public safety. You know, today is a special day for at least two individuals as well as an organization. This is the first time in my 13 years that I've been blessed to be the chief of this organization that we've actually recognized a community organization in regard to volunteerism. And before I get started, I want to acknowledge Councilmember Levanta Williams, who represents District 1. Thank you for being here today. You know, when you look at the process is not easy, particularly when it comes to selecting the sworn as well as non-sworn recipients as far as the annual awards. When you have an organization that is over 830 plus members, you can imagine what kind of task it is to get that done. And because of the department's awards committee, they did a great job of working through the nominations and coming up with this year's recipients, because it's not easy, I can tell you that, because everybody does a great job in regards to accomplishing the mission, the values of this organization, and ensuring that we provide quality services to the community that we serve. And so with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Do we have any of the award committee members present that you stand and be recognized? Award committee members, raise your hand and waves. So, all right, appreciate it. Appreciate your effort. I see we've also been joined by Mayor Carrbrewer. Thank you for being here, sir. Would you like to make any comments to our recipients this year?
No, just congratulations and thank you for your hard work and things that you've done here in the city of Wichita.
Thank you, Mayor. We also have Councilmember Jeff Lumbaugh. I do believe this is your first year being with us as far as the annual award, so thank you for being here. He represents District number 4, so thank you, sir. I think I got everybody covered. Okay, those are my bosses. If I can ask Major Glenn Caddy to please come forward. If you'd like to bring your staff, they're welcome. This is a team effort, so bring members that are here from the Salvation Army, because if you want to just, I'm going to read a few things. Captain Gavin Seiler nominated the Wichita Salvation Army Emergency Services for the Cooper McKee Award. Why is this award so important? It recognizes people or organizations that display outstanding volunteer service to the community, as well as the Wichita Police Department. The recipients have demonstrated tireless and unselfish commitment to improving the quality within the city of Wichita. When you look at the 2003 Cooper McKee recipient, there again is the Salvation Army's Emergency Social Services and its volunteers who have assisted citizens, as well as the Wichita Police Department, not only throughout 2012, but also for decades when it comes to providing assistance. This organization has been involved with the Christmas Crusade, also been involved with the Angel Tree, and also sharing the season. They're called upon by various public safety agencies, such as the Wichita Police Department, to provide water, Gatorade, food, and encouragement for the emergency workers during natural disasters, fires, DUI check lanes, tornado recovery, as well as barricaded situations. In July of 2013, they were called to 4141 South Seneca on a 32-hour standoff with an armed, barricaded suspect who had shot at law enforcement personnel. The social services volunteers continued to remain on the scene for 2 days after the incident was over to make sure that not only public safety personnel, but also the citizens that were displaced continued to have the necessary food and drinks to get them through this time. Volunteers from the Salvation Army Social Services responded to the April 2012 tornado that plowed through south central Wichita. In 2012, this is astonishing when you hear these numbers. In 2012, the Salvation Army, the volunteers with the social services were involved in 29 events, as well as humanitarian programs, provided public safety assistance, which touched about 48,120 individuals' lives. That's in 2012. Thus far in 2013, volunteers have been involved with 32 different community events, as well as assisting public safety once again. Thus far, they've touched about 14,504 individuals. In 2013, they have provided 204 cases of water, 232 cases of Gatorade for the Sedgwick County Fire, as well as city fire departments. Captain Siler stated that the social services volunteers do an excellent job maintaining a very positive attitude during these very stressful situations. In my world, the emergency social services staff and volunteers are unsung heroes. They leave their homes and jobs at any time of night to answer the call for service. They provide hope, comfort, encouragement, and a welcome smile during disasters, crises, as well as despairing situations. They stand as the ultimate humanitarians, making a positive difference in lives each and every day in this community. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and my privilege to recognize the Salvation Army's Emergency Social Services Department as the Wichita Police Department's 2013 Cooper McKee Volunteer of the Year.
As the chief has already said, we can't do this without the multitudes of volunteers who are willing at the ring of the phone to get out of bed and do something for their neighbors. And again, we want to express our appreciation for the city for recognizing the efforts of our volunteers, and we again thank God for them.
The Non-Sworn Employee of the Year Award recognizes a department member who has displayed tremendous initiative and performance throughout the year, successfully completed special projects that enhance the police department's operations. They provide exceptional customer service to the citizens and department members. This individual has promoted the department's mission and core values. They have been a tremendous team player and have gone above and beyond the call of duty. Mr. Don Langford, would you please join me, as well as your wife, up front, please?
How can I videotape? No, Don.
Oh, okay. Mr. Don Langford began his career with the Wichita Police Department on January 3rd, 2006. His responsibilities as the planning analyst in the record bureaus include: he provides oversight for over 15 software applications used by other department team members. He reviews the development of enhancements of existing computer applications. He meets with local information technology and information services personnel as needed, as well as state representatives, to make sure we're all on the same page. He is able to provide recommendations for projects that impact the state as well as the South Central region when it comes to technology needs to enhance public safety. He also serves as a technical liaison for the Wichita Police Department when it comes to different projects that we're considering to invest to enhance our ability to provide quality services. In 2012, Mr. Langford worked on numerous projects which include the laserfish security as well as workflow concept. He also provides local updates in regards to the Kansas incident-based reporting system. He's constantly looking at how we can test the Kansas law enforcement reporting applications as well as the Fusion Center transition system. When it comes to volunteering, it's amazing the fact that he volunteers and lends support at the DUI checkpoints. He also volunteers for special law enforcement when it comes to DUI projects throughout this community. Annually, he participates in the holiday drive for DUI victims. He volunteers to provide ribbons for department vehicles to heighten the awareness when it comes to driving under the influence during the holiday season. Each one of the ribbons that he is able to put on police cars has the name of a victim that died, unfortunately, as a result of DUI. His commitment to DUI holds a special significance, as his daughter, former officer Summer Langford, was killed by a DUI driver in October 1997. On a personal note, Don is a veteran of the United States Army, having served in Germany. How fitting. Today, this is Veterans Weekend. Thank you for your service to our country. While in the Army in Germany, that is when he began his love of travel with his wife Colette and their 3 daughters. Family has been the center point of Don's life. He attends St. Mary's Cathedral Church. Many people don't know that Don graduated with a degree in chemistry, but quickly found a career as a computer programmer. Help me to understand that transition.
It was the times.
One thing I haven't quite figured out yet, and maybe I'll have to look to you or your wife, I understand you had a sleazy visitor or new house guest that moved into the house on Sunday. He has a snake in his house and he doesn't know where the snake is at right now. Or have we found it yet? No?
Anyone can help.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor on behalf of the men and women of the Wichita Police Department to recognize Mr. Don Langford as the Wichita Police Department's 2013 Non-Sworn Employee of the Year.
Prepared some remarks for today, but I'd like to set those aside and just simply say thank you. Thank you to the person who nominated me. Thank you to the selection committee. This came as a complete surprise. It wasn't anything that I expected, but I'm honored to receive this award from a fine organization like Wichita Police Department.
this is a special day for me, but it's also a special day for Colette and I. 44 years ago today, we stood up together. And we're married by Bishop Carroll, who had also married my parents 25 years earlier in St. Louis. And it's interesting and important how the threads of your life are connected. My goal when I came to Wichita Police Department was to make a difference and to work for a good organization. Wichita Police is really like a family of people. They care about each other. Everybody has everyone else's back. And I've been able to do my job because everyone has helped me. And so I truly appreciate that. And I want to thank everyone.
I also like to acknowledge Councilmember Clendenin, who's joined us. He is the council district representative for District 3, so thank you for being here this afternoon, sir. Now we're down to the Wichita Police Department 2013 Officer of the Year. What is the criteria? What does it take to be selected as the WPD's Officer of the Year? We look at the overall performance of that individual throughout the year. We look at their commendations as well as department awards. Significant incidents of exemplary performance, projects that they worked on, civic activities that they're involved in. Anything that will continue to advance the missions and values of the Wichita Police Department. So would Officer Nate Schwiethale and his family please join me up front? Lieutenant Dennis Wilson nominated Officer Schwiethale. As I looked at his information, there are several things that run through my mind. It's been stated that following your passion is the key to finding your potential. Following your passion is the key to finding your potential. The Wichita Police Department 2013 Officer of the Year has passion for helping homeless individuals within our community. Officer Schwiethale began his career 12 years ago on September the 9th, 2001. Since that time, he's had the opportunity to work as a police officer, community policing officer. When I look back over the last year or so as far as his performance that was noted, since being the beat coordinator for 22 Beat, he developed a compassion for assisting the homeless individuals on his beat. In March of 2011, he initiated a policing project that looked at how can we address the needs and concerns of the homeless in a positive way. How can we connect them with resources to allow them to be sustainable and viable? The project dealt with connecting the homeless with community resources as best we could. In February 2013, Officer Schwiethale attended training presented by the Colorado Springs Police Department in regards to starting a homeless outreach team. Ascribing to the Wichita Police Department commitment to partnerships, problem solving, Officer Schwiethale built a partnership with the rainbow of community organizations such as elected officials, the Homeless Oversight Committee, the Wichita Homeless Service Coalition, the Wichita Downtown Corporation, the Advocates to End Homelessness, the Rescue Mission, as well as the Open Door. When I look at the homeless outreach team, which is comprised of not only Officer Schwiethale, but also Greg Feuerborn, Officer Danny Taylor, and Sergeant Brent Stowe, please stand so we can see who you are, where you're at. Raise your arms. Little did we know that a vision that these individuals had would result in what I'm about to tell you now. During the 6 months that they have been in existence, 61 homeless individuals have been placed in permanent housing. 61 homeless. 11 individual homeless have been reunited with their families outside of the state of Kansas. They've been able to get a bus ticket and return home to their families and to be reunited. That is phenomenal. There's been numerous other individuals that have received information regarding resources. I see we have with us Director of the Housing and Community Department, Ms. Mary Kay Vaughn. She's been very involved with connecting the homeless as far as Homeless First, I do believe. His civic activities include he volunteers with Big Brothers Big Sister. He's also involved with communities and schools. He is a third-degree knight with the Knights of Columbus. He and his wife are members of St. Elizabeth Ann Seton. His awards have included the Certificate of Commendation, the Department's Commendatory Performance Report. He's also been acknowledged by communities and schools for his efforts. What people don't realize is that he's contributed to communities and schools out of his own personal pocket. When he learned that there were children that would not have a Christmas holiday, he dug in his own pocket to make sure those kids had a Christmas holiday. Currently, he is a big brother that he's been mentoring for the last 8 years. To his credit, he focused on rewarding good behavior and academic achievement as part of the many positives that he's brought to their relationship. He has mentored the little big for the past 8 years. He's an entrepreneur. Many people don't realize that Nate has an entrepreneurial side. Would you like to tell them, or would you like me to tell them?
He gets their equipment installed in a cooler. Oh, man.
He has the ability to transform beach coolers into stereos for hanging outdoors with style. Okay. Lieutenant Wilson says that Officer Schwiethale's outstanding contributions and his ability to interact with the community in which he works is a valuable asset not only to the community, but also to his peers in the Wichita Police Department. I'm honored, I'm humbled on behalf of the great department members to recognize Officer Nathaniel Schwiethale as the Wichita Police Department's 2013 Officer of the Year.
I think you need one of my coolers to scare out that snake out of your house. Turn it up real loud and get that snake out of there. Yeah, right. I thought about what kind of speech I'd have today, but to be honest with you, I really wanted to take this opportunity to thank a lot of the people that were here today, because there was, the homeless outreach team really was a collaborative effort in building partnerships. When I look back on those connections that we've made with the businesses and all the individual organizations that we were involved with, if one of those pieces didn't fit, I don't think we would have been successful today. Can I have the people that are here today that work with an agency or a homeless coalition group, can I have you stand up, by the way? I'd like the people to just acknowledge all you. Thank you. And I think that says a lot about some of the partnerships that we've built here, and I want to kind of go over a lot of the people that were involved in helping us be successful. First and foremost, I want to thank my wife. For those of you who don't know, we have a phone system that we want to be available to the homeless 24/7, and that includes on our weekends and in the evenings and any time. And so oftentimes we might be out to dinner and we're talking at a restaurant and my phone rings and I have to answer that, and I want to be there for those homeless individuals. If they're in crisis, we want to be available. And so she was very patient and very supportive of the program this whole time, this whole year. And so I really thank you for that. Also want you guys also understand that it wasn't just me. Like Chief Norman Williams talked about, there was Officer Greg Fearborn and Officer Taylor. You know, I had the vision, but in order for this to be successful, I needed some officers, and I needed some dedicated officers that are willing to work hard and understand this process and what we were doing and to be okay with it. It was obviously different than your traditional policing. It takes a non-traditional policing approach. And so it was very important to have dedicated officers that understood that philosophy. And so it was also important that we didn't want to assign anyone. We didn't want to just appoint someone to do this position, because it's not what you want. You want someone that wanted to be here for this position. And so Officer Gregg and Officer Taylor, they agreed to do this and joined on. And so when we talk about a lot of those statistics and the numbers that Chief Norman Williams talked about, and actually as of this week, we hit 100 homeless housed permanently or in transitional housing. So, but thank you. But when we talk about those numbers, it's important to note that Officer Taylor and Officer Gregg were a part of that as well. And so those, you know, they were. I wish I don't know if it's the plaque I had. I wish I could put it in break it in half and just toss it to you. But you know, because I really do think that you guys. There you go. And so I really think they deserve some of that as well. So the other people I want to thank is Chief Williams and the command staff. I mean, I was joking a few weeks ago at the Crime Commission that I felt like I was walking to pitch the idea of a homeless outreach team to a board full of knowledge and leadership and experience. It was kind of like walking into an episode of the Shark Tank trying to pitch an idea. And so, but, you know, the true definition of leadership, you know, defines a leader that can look at his troops and understand the goals and the values, and if they're in that same direction, he's going to support them. In college, I took a leadership school up in Illinois, and one of the things that stuck out to me was the definition of leadership. It was from Dr. Green from Yale University, and they described leadership as a true process of persuasion in which an individual or a leadership team induces a group to take action which is in full accord with the leader's purpose or shared purposes of all. And I think Chief Williams and his command staff definitely embody that definition, so thank you. I just learned the definition. I don't know. There was a lot of people that's been involved in this process from even years and years ago. This was a vision I've had probably dating back about 8 years ago, and it's kind of slowly, you know, come forth. And so I want to recognize some of those individuals, and some of those are here as well. Retired Captain Tenbrook, who's in the back room. He was our captain down at Patrol South when we started this training, and he was always supportive of the idea from the very beginning. Even when he came down to Patrol South, he was really busy trying to get acclimated, and he stopped what he was doing and came over and sat down next to the computer to see what I was working on and what vision I had, and he's been supportive ever since, so thank you. And also retired Deputy Chief Terry Moses. She was supportive and was part of the command staff during the decision to move forward with the HOT team. As well as Lieutenant Halloran, Lieutenant Wilson, Lieutenant Hireman, Captain Spear, and Captain Livingston. They were supervision that's been involved in the process of being supportive of this program. We also have a supervisor, Sergeant Brett Stoll. He's here today. He's in charge of supervising our team, and he's been very supportive from the very beginning. He's been my community policing supervisor for, 4 or 5 years now, and so he's been there from the very beginning as well, and he's been very supportive. I look up to him as a leader as well. He's very ethical, and he has a very strong hard work ethic, and I think from someone who's trying to learn from an example, he was the perfect supervisor to have for us. And so, I really appreciate Sergeant Brett Stoll. A lot of the other organizations that we talk about as far as our homeless coalition groups have been involved. And like I said, when I talk about those puzzles, we really needed everyone involved in order for this to be successful. And I just want to go over a lot of these organizations that helped us along the way. The Union Rescue Mission. When I got trained by Colorado Springs, they gave us a story, and they started their homeless outreach team, and they had the same vision that we had, but they necessarily probably didn't have those bonds and connections they had with their community and with their homeless organizations yet. They had to do that. The first day they went out as officers, they went to their rescue mission, and they walked up to the front door, and they went to knock, and the director came out, and he saw the police officers walking up to the mission, and he shut the door behind him, and he put his hands up like this, and he says, "You're not coming in here without a warrant." So, as you can see, they had some things they had to get over, and eventually they did. That director, one of the directors, he was actually at the Trinos out. They're best friends now, and they go on camping trips together and everything. So, but when I approached the Union Rescue Mission about this idea, and Denny with the Union Rescue Mission, you know, they opened the door and had open arms. They said, "This is absolutely, we know you, Nate. We trust the police department. You have a great team, and we think this is a great idea." And not only that, but they took it a step further and said, "What can we do to make this be successful?" And so we worked about ideas and processes and things that we were going to do, and they said, "Absolutely, let's do this." And so I really want to appreciate the Union Rescue Mission for everything they've done. Open Door is a resource center downtown. It's also a place for the homeless to go during the day as a day shelter. We utilize them constantly, and we're down there on like a daily basis. And they've been very supportive of us, as well as their staff members. And so it's been great to work with Open Door as well. Catholic Charities, which involves the Lord's Diner and St. Anthony Family Shelter. Options Adult Services. Options is an organization that helps with substance abuse individuals. So often we'll refer homeless there to try to get them into the substance abuse treatment that they need. And so Options, again, they said, "What can we do to help you?" You know, and they work with us all the time. They're able to connect those homeless that they believe are coming into the shelters. They'll have them give us a call. We'll go in there and start making those contacts and try to work at a exit program for when they get out of their recovery. And so it's been great to try to work with them to really get those individuals the substance abuse treatment that they need. ComCare and Mental Health Association. A lot of our individuals that are homeless, you'll know, that do have mental health issues, and so it was important to build that partnership with ComCare and the mental health in order to assist those individuals. One of the things we ran into when we first started is we signed people up for one of our programs called Housing First at the City of Wichita and Sedgwick County. And Housing First, you have to come with the case manager, and we didn't know how busy we were going to be. We figured that we could probably do the case management, and we still do, but as we started, it got way busier than we thought, and we needed help. And Mental Health Association called us out of the blue and said, "Hey, can we have a meeting?" We said, "Absolutely." And we sat down and talked with them. They said, "We think it's great what you're doing, but can we help? Can we take over some case management for you?" Absolutely. And so they've been a blessing. They show up when we get guys housed. They'll show up on scene at the same time we're housing an individual, and we're able to kind of pass that torch and have them take over our case management for those individuals that have mental illness, and then we can back away and move on to the next person. So it's been a great collaboration and partnership. SAC, or Substance Abuse Center of Kansas. Same situation. Those individuals that might have substance abuse issues, we can call on them, and if they have a dual diagnosis of mental illness or substance abuse or just substance abuse, we can fit them into one of their programs and have them take over our case management, and that's something that is an ongoing effort, and we're continuing to work in partnership with them as well. Center of Hope. Center of Hope helps those homeless individuals that might have an income, whether it's disability or Social Security, but they need help in getting into some type of down payment on an apartment, because a lot of times you have to have $200 towards down payment. They might not have that. Well, Center of Help is able to help our individuals and get them started, so they've been a great asset. The VA Homeless Services, those individuals, we do have a large population of homeless that are veterans, and so we can refer those to the VA, and they can take over and assist us. And then the City of Wichita and Sedgwick County, which I mentioned earlier, in their Housing First program. Mary Kay, they've been great to work with, and Maggie Flanders and Shelley Hopp. I feel like we're talking with them on a daily basis, if not 2 to 3 times a day, about clients and helping them and working issues out. And so they've been absolutely amazing to work with, and their staff. And also His Helping Hands, I believe they're here today as well. His Helping Hands, for those of you who don't know, His Helping Hands is an organization that has a huge warehouse that is ran by volunteers and staff, and they accept donated items, whether it's beds or furniture, TVs, household items, and they give to those that are needy and that need that help to help them get started. a lot of times we'll meet with homeless, and as we're discussing, we might be at a park underneath a bridge, and they'll talk about, well, why would I need to get out of here? I don't have anything. Why would I need to get an apartment? You know, I was like, I don't have a bed. What am I going to do? Get an apartment and just lay on the floor? You know, what incentive is there for me to do that? I said, well, no, I have a place. We can get you a bed, and we can get you furniture, and we can get you a couch, and it'll all be free, and we'll even help deliver it. And then that's when you see their eyes kind of sparkle and look up. And sometimes it's just that extra nudge right there to kind of break down those barriers that they need. And that's what His Helping Hands has done. And it's been a great partnership working with them and their organization to help overcome some of these barriers that we were facing. I feel like time and time again we've used them, and I feel like we show up. I kept expecting we're going to run out of beds because we showed up, I went to 50, 60 times this year. And every time we roll up, there's just more beds. So they're really good about promoting and getting those donations to come in. So again, if you guys, if you have something to donate, please call His Helping Hands. They need the resources. So and so do our guys. So thank you again. And then also want to thank the Advocates to End Chronic Homelessness. They're an organization. In the past, they used to raise money for the overflow. This year, they wanted to. That torch has been passed to Interfaith, and so they were wanting to figure out what course could we do to help out in the homeless. And so they decided to help us out with our Finding a Way Home program. And our Finding a Way Home program deals with assisting individuals to reunite with family members or friends in other cities or states that can give them a home. And now obviously there has to be funds for that, and so we have to raise money for that. So they kind of taken over our fundraising or assisted, and it's been a great asset to be able to work in partnership with AIC. In fact, today I'm wearing the color purple and representing AIC, so I think you guys nod your head right there. So I also want to thank Interfaith. Interfaith is involved in a lot of different aspects in homelessness. They have a shelter that specializes in dealing with homeless individuals who have extreme mental illness. They also have the women's shelter, and Ann and also Sandy, who work with Interfaith. Time and time again, we'd run into pinches where the shelters might have been full for a female we're looking for, and we'd give them a call, and they'd figure out some way to help, whether it was moving them to this shelter or moving people around and within. But they always went out of their way to try to help out the HOT team. And they were very supportive of us, and they want us to be successful. And you could tell by the way they were supportive in dealing with us. And I'm sure there's so many other agencies that were involved that we've worked with. We have a pamphlet that just lists dozens and dozens, and I'm sure, I probably haven't mentioned all of them, and, I apologize for that. There's also been a lot of businesses that have come out of the woodworks to help out the homeless outreach team. Ribbit Computers, we have a cell phone system that we give out to the homeless. It's a number, and that has a number that it dials, and it rings to both Officer Fearborn and myself and Officer Taylor's phone. And we also can get the messages on our personal phones in the evenings, and that's how we can call them back. But that neutral number obviously comes with a cost and a price tag, and Ribbit Computers has been involved in paying for that monthly fee this entire year. And so that was really great to work in partnerships with Alex Harb and Ribbit Computers. Other businesses that helped with our Finding a Way Home program and funding the transportation costs was Coleman, Cargill, Kansas Star, Gore Oil, and South Central Improvement Alliance. There was also other churches and individuals that have donated to that cause, and I want to thank all of you that have donated to that. And also Pyxis. Pyxis is a office building next door to Open Door, which is the daily shelter, and they saw the need that we needed an office, and so they donated office space this entire year to us, and even chairs and desks and everything we needed, and we're able to go over right next door and meet with homeless during the day center, or have them come over and meet with us. And so it was a great partnership to be able to work with them on that. And last but not least, there's one more group that we need to thank, and none of this would have been possible without the assistance of them and understanding and trusting us, and that's the homeless. In Colorado Springs, they were a little nervous, and we were too, that, we might have had the collaboration of the officers, the command staff, the businesses, and the homeless advocacy groups. But at the end of the day, if the homeless weren't going to trust us and work with us, this wasn't going to be successful either. You know, across cities and states across the nation, you see law enforcement and homeless at odds with each other. But in Wichita, it wasn't the case. I think it was because of that partnerships that we built through this past few years and working with these homeless coalition groups. I saw there was some type of trust there, and they were willing to give us a shot. And even the few that maybe didn't, the ones that did, when we were able to help them, it was a domino effect, and they were calling up their buddies, and our phone blew up. And we still do. We get like 30 to 50 calls a day, and we're answering them all during the day and also into the evenings. And Greg can attest to that. We're so busy, it's unbelievable. So that can attest to a lot of the partnerships and also the trust that we've built within the community. And so, you know, today I really thank this award. I really do. But I do think it was a collaboration effort and the partnerships that we've built with everyone here to make it happen possible. And if the stars hadn't aligned, and if one of these organizations hadn't have trusted us and worked with us, I don't think it would have been successful. And it was pretty amazing to see everyone come together. So I want to give everyone a hand of applause for that. Thank you again for this award. Appreciate it.
If I could have the recipients please come forward. Mr. Patty, Mr. Langford, Officer Schwiethale, please come forward. Before I make my comments, I'd like to say to Carol Hayden, Lois Henderson, Kimberly Hall, thank you for the refreshments, for the reception. As usual, you do a great job, and so appreciate it very much. You know, Dr. Martin Luther King once said that anybody can be great because anybody can serve. Today we're recognizing individuals as well as an organization that have made a commitment to make a difference one life at a time. They truly have embodied the philosophy of Dr. King because they truly are great, and you have made a difference. So it gives me great honor once again to recognize Major Caddy with the Salvation Army for the Cooper McKee Volunteer of the Year, for the non-sworn, Mr. Don Langford, and the Officer of the Year, Nate Schwiethale. Great job, sir. Get a chance to shake their hands and congratulate them. So thank you all for being here. Thank you very much.